Good afternoon. It is Laura, Healthy Carnivore. Just a little background is I am an RN. I have been a nurse for over 22 years. I did keto for 28 years and then transitioned over to carnivore 6 years ago, lion 3 years ago. And that's kind of where I feel my best is the lion version of the carnivore diet. So, what I try to do every Monday is I try to go over a disease process, a metabolic disorder, things like that. I try to go over those and some of the natural things you can do, some of the medical things you can do, some of the different treatments, diet included, to try to help with these disorders that we have so plentifully all over the place. So, tonight's stuff that I'm going to go over is called lipedema. Okay. So if you have any questions, throw them in the comment section there. I will try to get to those live. If I am unable to get to them during the live, I will absolutely, when I'm done, I will do that. Of course, if you're on replay, same thing. Just put your questions in there. It always notifies you when you have that, and I will absolutely get back with you and answer you. The other thing is, I am going to be doing another live tomorrow night at 5:30. And this one I'm gonna be a little more fired up on than what I am tonight. So I gotta try to keep myself simmered down tomorrow. So what I am going over tomorrow night is advocacy. I'm going to go over quite a few things. This is in response to Old Guy Carnivore. If you don't know who he is, go check out his channel, Old Guy Carnivore, and his most recent video as of yesterday, unless he put another one out today. I think anybody who is over the age of 50 should absolutely listen to his video, and then you'll understand why I'm going to go over advocacy, and I'm probably going to ruffle some feathers, including some nurse feathers that need to step up and do what they're supposed to be doing for their patients. So, hi, Kat. Kat says she's off today, so she gets to watch live. It's 3:30. Oh yeah, it would be 3:30 there. That's true. Well, I'm glad you're here. Um, so lipedema is considered a chronic condition. It's not just abdominal, but it is abnormal fat that builds up symmetrically. It can be in either leg, it can be in both legs, it can be in the lower leg of one leg, upper leg, arms, thighs, buttocks. It can be just about anywhere. It most often affects women, and it is often mistaken for obesity or lymphedema. Not the same thing. And really, you can kind of tell when you look at it that it's not the same thing. Lymphedema is like when you press in on somebody's leg and it feels kind of spongy, but like when you put your fingerprints in, those stay in there, those indentions stay for a long period of time. That's lymphedema. That has more to do with like congestive heart failure, decreased cardiac output, issues with kidneys and heart and lungs can cause that. So that's lymphedema. This is lipedema. So the exact cause is not fully understood. Hey, Christy. Hey, Marla. Um, but genetics, they do think some genetic traits that this runs in genetics, because you'll see it in multiple family members, even family members who have changed their lifestyle. So a lot of times we follow down the same track as our parents and grandparents, and we're like, oh, it's definitely genetics. And it's like, no, you ate the same way they did. You followed the same, bad habits. But in this case, many of these do not. So let's see. Yum. So Christy said she just got home from teaching. She's making some eggs for dinner. Yeah, I ate around 2 o'clock. I ate about half a pound of deer burger and about half a pound of ribeye fat. It was delicious. And of course, my Himalayan salt, or actually, I use Redmond's real salt. But anyway, so yeah. Hormonal influences typically develops or worsens during puberty, pregnancy, or menopause. There's another time that it can rear its ugly head. And this is the first time I ever took care of somebody in a hospital setting that had this. They were 13 and they were on um, the birth control pill because they had like painful periods, amenorrhea, issues like that. So they had been placed on the birth control pill. And I think it was just, it jacked up their hormones, messed up their entire system. And a side note to that, that individual has never been able to have a baby. Once they stop the multiple different birth controls. Like they would do birth control for 3 months and they wouldn't stop and let the system kind of come back to wherever its norm is. And then they'd go right on to another one instead of waiting and trying to give their body time. And they did that for several years. And unfortunately, they cannot have children. So let's see. Christy says, I had bacon and cheese quiche for dinner. That sounds good too. Gosh, I wish I could eat cheese, darn it. Which is okay. I'm glad that there are people out there that can eat cheese and egg whites. I can eat egg yolks. Um, Another thing is inflammation and microvascular dysfunction can contribute to fat accumulation and fluid retention in these fat cells. So, some of the outside treatments that most of these facilities would do, and I've done this in the home for people. Lymphedema, they say, is not curable. Management focuses on reducing their symptoms. So, compression therapy that will help control swelling and discomfort. But with that, just think about this compression therapy. What we would do is we'd start sometimes in the toes with these small little ace wraps, and then the top of the foot, the whole foot, all the way up to right to their groin. So just think about how miserable that would be if it's summertime and it's like 95 degrees outside. I can't even imagine how miserable that would be. So I really do feel bad when people have that. Manual lymphatic drainage is a specialized massage to reduce fluid buildup, and this I have seen like in my local area. We have some massage therapists and they do specialize in that. Also in pregnancy type massage. You have to be kind of careful with that, and they specialize in those. Another is, of course, diet and exercise. Anti inflammatory ketogenic carnivore diets may help manage these symptoms, though they will not completely eliminate the fat. Low impact exercises like swimming, walking can improve mobility. I would also recommend rebounding, bouncing. I think that would also be another one. A surgical treatment is liposuction, water assisted, and tumescent. The only known way to permanently remove lipedema fat. I have worked with a gal, I'm not going to say her name, who has this condition and it only affects one leg. And no matter how long she's been doing this, when she's been doing ketogenic, ketovore for probably 3 or 4 years now, and nothing, even with extended fasting where you break down the fat cells, she doesn't have fat anywhere else on the body. I mean, nowhere else. But she's got it in that leg. And it's like that has to find its way out of there. There are medications and supplements. So some benefit from the anti-inflammatory treatments and supplements such as omega-3, your flavonoids, and horse chestnut. But you want to be sure that you're not allergic to any of that stuff. Hey, Karen. Hello. Yes, Hattie, toes to groin. It is very brutal. I've also had to do that for lymphedema, which is that weird swelling I talked about from congestive heart failure. I've also had it with women in their arms after they've had mastectomies following cancer because they take out a lot of that lymph tissue, the lymph glands, and so they can't get rid of fluid. So I've also had to do it like start from their fingers, the smallest little ace wraps you've ever seen, and I've had to wrap those all the way up so that that can help dump the fluid. Let's see. Kat says, if you watch Anna Maria from Italian Gone Carnivore, she has really improved her lipedema. Well, that's wonderful. I have seen her. Um, I never spoke with her directly. Hey, Tara. But yes, that it's just a horrible condition. I can't even imagine it. So, um, when it comes to like, I really want to hit on the diet nutrition part of this. So, of course, the most anti-inflammatory diet is going to be your carnivore, and ketogenic and ketovore. Those are going to be the most reductive of inflammation and swelling. So, many women with lipedema do see improvement just from cutting out sugars, seed oils, and the processed foods. But everybody does that gets rid of that poison. I think everybody sees some benefits from that. Um, uh, lymph- Lymphatic supportive foods include bone broth, your collagen rich foods, omega 3 fatty acids, fatty fish, grass fed meats if you can get it. You got to do the best you can. If you can't afford the grass fed meat, then you get the meat that you can. Um, Another thing is intermittent fasting may help reduce inflammation and improve lymphatic drainage. So, even though this is fat cells that have like a hyper, they're just hyperbolic, huge in when they when you do get some of that to break down, you have to have your lymphatic system working properly to get that out into that system to get that up and out to goes up and dumps into the main lymphatics and then goes to the kidneys and is filtered out. So you have to have that working as well. Manual lymphatic drainage, like I said, you really need to work with a specialized massage therapist who knows how to do that to help move the fluid and reduce swelling. Rebounding, the mini trampoline will help stimulate lymphatic flow and helps with circulation. Dry brushing is another thing that they say can help with the lymphatic movement and skin health. I'm just going to be 100% honest here. Years ago, I had cellulite on the outside of my thighs, um, pretty good amount. I had it ever since I was a kid. And I tried to do that dry brushing, and I am a wimp, or I was doing it too hard. All I know is it hurt like hell. And I was like, I'm not doing this. Now I know other people swear by it, and maybe I don't know. I do not do it. I threw that bad girl in the trash can because I was like, no, this is a medieval torture device. I'm not using it. So I don't know if it would have worked. Extended fasting and eating the way I eat worked. I don't have the cellulite there anymore, and I'll be 54 in exactly 1 week. But that is gone. It is no longer there. Now, if we could just figure out a way to get rid of stretch marks, that would be great. Because, when you have been 313 pounds, you got some stretch marks going on. So, if anybody out there has any ideas on how to get rid of those, I have lightened them. But yeah, that that would be great. I would take that advice and at least give it an attempt. I will say castor oil, um, frankincense, what is it? Cobala, has helped with some of that. But when you have as many as I had, it doesn't go away. Kat says, "Yeah, I don't think I could dry brush. I don't know. Yeah, I tried it. I tried it a couple different times, and I seriously had bruises down my legs. And I don't bruise super easily. And I thought, nope, I'm not doing this to myself. I wouldn't let somebody else do it. I sure the heck ain't doing it to myself. Um, Another thing is like compression garments. So they actually make compression garments that you can put on. Like I said, they have like the compression sleeves for that go over the hand and go all the way up the arm for people who have it in the arms. They have the legs. Of course, they have the different wraps that they can use around their abdomen that would help, you know, get this pushed to where it needs to and to get it out of the body. So low impacts workouts are key on this. Okay, they say you don't want to do that excessive because you're going to throw up your cortisol, which is not going to help you in this. So Low impact workouts such as walking, swimming, rebounding, and cycling help improve circulation without triggering pain. These people have excessive pain, from this. The other thing that happens is they kind of have this constant circle of trouble because the more fat cells you have, the more estrogen you produce. And you can see where that goes. Too much estrogen, and we know what happens. So, yeah, it's something that they have to struggle with. So, strength training would, of course, help. You're going to get better muscle tone, and you're going to be able to support lymphatic drainage if you have those muscles stronger, excuse me, in those areas. Um, so I'm very fortunate. That's something I do not have. And like I said, I've worked with a few people. I did have that young girl, 13. Um, yeah, that was a mess. She had some bad advice and treatment. Supplements and natural remedies. So, diosmin and hesperidin, which are found in citrus fruits, these flavonoids may support vascular health. I would say, personally, myself, I don't know that that's something I would use. I think for vascular health, I would do the K2D3 and vitamin E is what I would do. Horse chestnut extract, it does support vein health and reduces swelling. This does work. But like I said, you want to be very mindful that you're not allergic to horse chestnut. So it's something that you would want to like place on. Usually, the best place to do it is put it like right here on your wrist and just do a little test patch there, just to see if you break out, because you don't want to take it you know if it breaks out on your skin, it's really going to do a number on you if you take it by mouth. Butcher's broom, which helps with circulation and lymph flow. Magnesium supports muscle relaxation and reduces fluid retention. So my my belief of what I know about like curcumin, turmeric type things, cayenne peppers, the powder and stuff like that. These are other things that can help with the vascular. So those would be some things that I would also kind of do some research and look into to see how that works. So um, detox and lifestyle changes. So I've never done this type, but I do have somebody that I talk with on Marco Polo groups. And she does have this, she has got an infrared sauna. It helps promote detoxification and circulation. Hydration with electrolytes. So you've got to make sure you have enough electrolytes so that the lymphatic function works as it's supposed to. And you want to try to avoid endocrine disruptors, which means reduce exposure to plastics, synthetic fragrances, and toxins that can worsen symptoms. That one is a hard one because everything, your clothing, your bras, your workout clothes, everything has got all these synthetics and plastics in it, fragrances, the toxins. I mean, we've all been hearing a lot about this over the last few months, and hopefully that'll continue to get resolved somehow. Because when you bring it to the light, then you can deal with those things. So hopefully that is coming down the pike where we can get cleaned up, uh, and at least have the information on there so you can make an informed decision. Like, hey, I like the way spandex looks. I'm going to buy it. I don't care that it's causing me endocrine issues. Fine. You're an adult. You buy the junk, But I think there's so many things. Like I said, when you look at like your regular deodorants, your shampoos, your conditioners, um, makeup, I think there are a few makeup brands out there that are kind of organic. So that would be something that if you wear makeup, you could absolutely do that. I also don't know if tomorrow, when I do this video on advocacy, it's going to kind of depend on how long I go on it because I may get on a soapbox or two. But if I can stay within a decent time, I also want to go over a couple things. I had went over healthcare power of attorney, just the healthcare one, last year, I believe, maybe a year before that. Um, but there are so many things out there that people don't really know, like a living will. What's the difference between a living will, last will and testament, durable power of attorney for finances, of course, the medical one, your HIPAA authorizations, your do not resuscitate order, your trust, beneficiary designations, and funeral and burial instructions, which nobody likes to talk about that, but we're all going to be there someday. And this can just help from having a lot of trouble with families having to deal with stuff. So that is what I'm going to go over tomorrow if I have time. I'm starting with advocacy first, and I'm talking to the nurses and family members of patients and patients themselves. And then next Monday, the video that I'm going to be doing is going to be going over acid blocking medications, like your proton pump inhibitors and your H2 receptor blockers, and anticholinergics, if you want. That's a fancy word. I love that word. But just the dangers that come with that, the things that can happen, things you can do in place of it. Um, it's pretty significant, the things that come with taking that medication. So anyway, so hopefully, I know this was short and sweet. Um, and fortunately and unfortunately, there's not a ton of people that have this disorder, but there is enough of them that I thought it was important to talk about. Um, and, I'd say this is a condition that it sounds like most people know pretty young. They have this by puberty, um, just as to how bad it's going to get. So, anyway, hopefully this was informative. If you liked it, please like it. If you know somebody that has this, that has any questions, would be interested in this, please share this out. And if you hit the little subscribe bell whenever I get a super bright idea and go live, then it'll notify you that I've went live. Otherwise, I do try to put out there that I'm going to be doing some of these things. Uh, repent and believe in Jesus Christ. I like that. Um, you can watch the replay. That's okay. It's not a super long video, so you can watch the replay. And like I said in the video, if you have any questions, comments, put them in there, and I will absolutely answer them back. I'm going to be working on another Afghan for a patient that's getting ready to be discharged. And I have got to whittle away because when it's nice and warm out, I don't like to sit there and crochet and get my lap warm. So I have to get working on it. And today it's cold. So today's the day to try to get it finished. So Simpson says, late again. Sounds like Laura is about over. I am, but you can always watch the replay. Um, Brenda, hello, Brenda. Better late than never. That is right. That is right. I will be back on tomorrow night, as I said, at 5:30 Central Standard Time, going over advocacy. And if I have time, I will go over a lot of the paperwork and legal documents that you need to have in place, especially with the times that we're in. And what I mean by that is we have very few advocates in the medical system, unfortunately, unless you can find. I always say, when you go in the hospital, you want to look for the nurse that's the grumpiest looking. She looks like she's been there for 40 years and she's pissed at the world. That's the nurse you want, because she's going to save your ass when it comes down to it. And she's going to be a patient advocate. No offense to the cute ones with the fake eyelashes and fake fingernails that are trying to catch a doctor. They're not the ones. But hopefully they can learn to be the ones. So that's what I will be going over next week. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Christy, for being on as well. And I will see you guys. And as I always say, meet, heat, eat, and repeat. See you guys later.